Throughout history, words have had the power to inspire change, ignite hope, and shape the future. Some speeches have transcended time, becoming symbols of courage, freedom, and resilience. Today, we celebrate the greatest American speeches that have defined a nation and inspired generations. Number 1, Patrick Henry, "Give me liberty or give me death." Patrick Henry's speech at the Second Virginia Convention is one of the most famous moments in American history. Delivered on March 23, 1775, in Richmond, Virginia, Henry's words stirred delegates to action as tensions with Britain grew. He boldly stated, "Give me liberty or give me death," to push for a militia independent of British rule. His speech convinced many to prepare for war, showing that compromise was no longer possible. The speech was later reconstructed by biographer William Wirt in 1817, based on witness accounts. Henry's passionate call emphasized freedom over submission and inspired Americans to fight for independence. His vivid imagery of chains and slavery and his dramatic gestures, like plunging a paper knife to his chest, captured the urgency of the moment. The speech's power lies in its ability to turn fear into courage, motivating action when it was most needed. Henry's legacy endures because he gave Americans a voice for liberty that still resonates today. Number 2, Franklin D. Roosevelt's first inauguration, 1933. During one of the darkest periods in American history, Franklin D. Roosevelt gave a speech that changed the nation's mood. On March 4, 1933, the United States was in the grip of the Great Depression. FDR declared that, "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself," encouraging Americans to face economic hardship with courage. He explained the severe problems of unemployment, shrinking incomes, and frozen trade, making citizens understand the need for immediate action. Roosevelt justified his plan to take strong executive measures, comparing the fight against the Depression to a war. By asking for broad powers, he prepared the nation for dramatic interventions like the New Deal. He also appealed to patriotism, showing Americans that their support and unity were crucial. His calm, hopeful words gave citizens reassurance that their government was taking responsibility. Roosevelt's speech is remembered for turning despair into determination and inspiring the nation to overcome its crisis. Number 3, Malcolm X, "The Ballot or the Bullet," 1964. Malcolm X delivered a speech in 1964 that electrified African Americans and emphasized the power of voting. Speaking in Cleveland and Detroit, he urged African Americans to exercise their right to vote wisely, but warned that if the government continued denying equality, self-defense might be necessary. Malcolm emphasized unity, explaining that all African Americans shared a common struggle, regardless of religion or education. He described the ballot as a weapon just as powerful as a bullet if used with strategy. He also criticized the government for failing to enforce civil rights laws, showing the need for African Americans to take control of their communities. Malcolm promoted Black nationalism, advocating political, economic, and social empowerment. His speech encouraged awareness, preparation, and pride, inspiring a generation to demand justice and equality. The courage and clarity of his words make it one of the greatest speeches in American history. George Washington, first inaugural address. George Washington's first inaugural address set the tone for the presidency and the new nation. On April 30th, 1789, he took the oath of office at Federal Hall in New York City, surrounded by citizens, Congress, and foreign dignitaries. Washington spoke with humility, acknowledging his inexperience and the heavy responsibilities of the presidency. He emphasized his duty to serve the country faithfully and sought guidance from a higher power to ensure the government worked for the people. His address reflected gratitude, patriotism, and respect for the Constitution. Washington's calm, deliberate, and thoughtful words reassured citizens that their new government could succeed. He demonstrated leadership by showing both humility and confidence, providing a model for future presidents. The address is remembered for its dignity, vision, and the precedent it set for American democracy. Number 5. Frederick Douglass. The Hypocrisy of American Slavery, 1852. Frederick Douglass delivered a powerful speech on July 5, 1852, exposing the contradiction between American independence and the existence of slavery. Speaking in Rochester, New York, Douglass challenged the celebration of freedom while millions of people remained enslaved. He described the cruelty, injustice, and moral failure of the nation, demanding that Americans face the truth about slavery. What to the slave is the 4th of July. Douglass's speech highlighted the hypocrisy of national pride built on oppression and inspired listeners to fight for justice and equality. He used sharp reasoning and emotional appeal to awaken conscience, emphasizing that true liberty could not exist while slavery persisted. Douglass's eloquence and courage made his speech a turning point in the fight for abolition, reminding Americans that freedom must be universal, not selective. Number 6. Abraham Lincoln. The Gettysburg Address, 1863. When Abraham Lincoln spoke at Gettysburg, he changed the way people think about freedom and sacrifice forever. On November 19, 1863, just after a deadly battle in the Civil War, Lincoln delivered a speech that lasted only 2 minutes but carried the weight of history. The Gettysburg Address reminded everyone that the nation was founded on equality and liberty. Lincoln wrote 5 known copies, each slightly different, showing how carefully he prepared. The Bliss copy, written after the speech, is often considered the standard version because it includes Lincoln's signature and clear phrasing. In just 271 words, Lincoln honored those who gave their lives, and he urged the living to continue the work of preserving the nation. His words, "Government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth," still define democracy. Scholars admire the speech not only for its brevity, but for its power to inspire courage, hope, and unity. Even today, it reminds us that dedication to freedom requires effort and remembrance of those who sacrificed everything. Number 7. President John F. Kennedy's Inaugural Address, 1961. John F. Kennedy stepped to the podium on January 20th, 1961, with a vision of a new generation ready to face the world. His 14-minute speech captured attention with the famous line, "Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country." Kennedy spoke to both Americans at home and people across the globe. He acknowledged the Cold War and the risks of nuclear weapons while calling for global cooperation against tyranny, poverty, disease, and war. Kennedy's speech was filled with hope and responsibility, urging citizens to rise to their highest potential. He inspired a generation to serve the nation and confront global challenges with courage. Through his careful choice of words, he combined patriotism with a moral call to action. Kennedy's address is remembered as a defining moment because it connected duty, freedom, and human progress in a way that still resonates today. Number 8. Washington's Farewell Address, 1796. George Washington's farewell address, written near the end of his second term, offered guidance to a young nation learning how to survive and thrive. Published in September 1796, the letter warned Americans about the dangers of political parties, foreign alliances, and regional divisions. Washington emphasized the importance of national unity and morality in public life. Even though Alexander Hamilton assisted with writing, the advice came from Washington's own experience and vision. He wanted citizens to understand that their support and vigilance were essential for the country's success. Washington's farewell was more than a goodbye. It was a roadmap for preserving liberty and national identity. He reminded Americans that freedom required responsibility ethical leadership, and careful attention to both domestic and foreign challenges. His words influence political thought for generations and remain a cornerstone of American values. Number 9, Martin Luther King Jr. I Have a Dream, 1963. Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his I Have a Dream speech on August 28, 1963, at the March on Washington. King spoke of a nation where all people, regardless of race, could live freely and equally. He referred to the Emancipation Proclamation and described the long struggle for civil rights, saying that African Americans were still trapped by injustice. King's speech borrowed ideas from the Bible, earlier speeches, and patriotic hymns, blending them into a powerful call for justice. The repeated phrase, "I have a dream," created rhythm and hope, inspiring millions to believe in a better future. He imagined children of different races joining hands in communities living in equality. His words were prophetic, merging the voices of past leaders with his own, urging action and moral responsibility. King's speech remains powerful because it speaks to universal human rights and the courage to demand justice peacefully and boldly. Number 10, Reagan's speech, Tear Down This Wall, 1987. On June 12, 1987, Ronald Reagan spoke at the Brandenburg Gate in Berlin, calling for freedom in a divided city. His famous challenge to Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall," symbolized hope for unity and democracy. The Berlin Wall had separated East and West Berlin since 1961, representing Cold War tension. Reagan spoke with conviction, urging change and the protection of liberty without using threats or aggression. The speech was carefully written by Peter Robinson, inspired by a conversation with a Berlin citizen. While immediate reactions were mixed, Reagan's words became historic when the wall fell 2 years later. The speech demonstrated leadership, courage, and belief in human freedom, showing how words can encourage change and shape history. These speeches shaped America, and which one inspired you the most? Tell us in the comments, like the video, and don't forget to subscribe for more powerful moments from history.